Good morning and welcome to unbiased.co.uk roundtable on how IFAs can improve their business through online marketing. My name is Paul McMillan, I'm the editor of Money Marketing and I'm the host for the panel session. We've got a fantastic lineup of panellists here today. First up is IFA Life's Phil Calvert.
Hi.
Second up is Scottish Providence Susan Barkley.
Morning.
Next is Dennis Hall from Yellowtail.
Hello.
Karen Barrett from unbiased.co.uk.
Hello.
Kim North from Tech and Tech. Keith Evans from JPM Morgan Asset Management.
Good morning.
And last up is Joe Griffiths from iLevel.
Morning.
And moving on to our first topic of discussion, given the current environment and the financial pressures that are being put on IFA businesses at the moment, how can online marketing help? Phil Calvert, what do you think?
Well, this is so important. The whole industry right now, anybody who deals with money is under the spotlight. Whether you're a banker, whether you're a financial advisor, we're being watched very, very closely. And the internet, thank goodness, is giving us a fantastic opportunity to rebuild the perception of trust, the perception of credibility, expertise and professionalism. It's all out there. It's a great opportunity for us to get back up there.
Dennis, do you agree?
I think there are all kinds of pressures now. As an IFA, I might be concentrating a lot on RDR and what that means. Alongside all of that, what is happening is that my clients are expecting more information, more frequently and more quickly perhaps than they ever have before because of their experiences getting information from anywhere else. And the web is you know, a kind of a good tool for that, but a bad tool because I've now got to focus a lot of effort in making sure that I deliver more for less.
Susan, from a provider's perspective.
Absolutely, from a protection provider perspective, we want to help IFAs and to help them reach their clients. One of the tools that we have recently launched is our Life Matrix, which looks at client segmentation, and that's something that's available online. It's pre-approach letters. It allows you to, as an IFA, to target your clients, whether that be new clients or indeed servicing your existing client base, because you know, things are hard, and the more that as a provider we can do to make things easy for you to do that, the better for everybody.
Keith, given your experiences, how can online marketing help advisors in the current environment?
Well, I think it's been a roller coaster 12 months, Paul. Clients are very nervous. They're probably hungry for a decent return on their investments. They're not really getting very much from the banks. They would have been scared by the stock markets. They really don't know where to turn. At the same time, many IFA businesses are quite small businesses. They must have found it difficult to get through the sort of economic malaise that we've had over the last 12 months. They may be looking to acquire new clients or indeed look after the ones that they already have. And I think it's true to say that a lot of IFAs probably don't want more clients, but the internet really can be used to maximise the commitment you have to your current client base through email or your online proposition to really engage with your current clients or indeed farm for new ones if that's where you need to go with your business. So I think it ticks a lot of boxes for IFAs right now.
And Karen, how can online marketing help advisors?
Well, I just think that the consumer demand is ever growing for independent financial advice and also for finding out information online. At unbiased.co.uk, we obviously have a directory of independent financial advisors, and we know that consumers are ever more demanding that those advisors have a web presence. So for the 30-odd%, the third of IFAs that don't have a website, we would implore you get onto the web, even if it is a brochureware site, have a presence, because consumers are demanding that. They want to see that you've invested in your business online.
We obviously work with Unbiased to make sure that the consumer can find Unbiased, and then in turn IFAs are then promoted. When you look at the sheer volume of people that are actually online at the moment, you've got in excess of 34 million people online, of which 63% of those people start their internet session with a search. They're actually searching for something specific, and their searches are becoming far more sophisticated these days. So we need to make sure that Unbiased is easily found, but secondly is providing consumers with highly relevant information so that the leads that the IFAs receive through Unbiased are quality leads. One way which we do that is geographical search. So if somebody's looking for an IFA in a specific location, they will type that in and we link in with Google Maps, and so people are getting highly relevant information.
Phil, what about the costs of all this, given the difficult market conditions we still face? Is it going to be expensive for IFAs to harness online marketing more than they're doing at the moment?
You can make it as expensive as you like, but the great thing about the internet is just so cheap, and there are so many things you can do online now which just cost nothing at all. It's simply a case of give it a go. I think a lot of IFAs are naturally cautious, or they may be of a generation that hasn't been brought up with the internet, so there's some concern about how do I use this, will I break the internet? It's quite hard to do that, I've tried, but it's just simply a matter of putting a toe in the water and giving it a go. And there are all sorts of things you can do, from having a basic website to doing some very, very sophisticated stuff, and just set your budget and away you go.
Dennis, what's your experience of harnessing the power of the web for online marketing?
It's been very beneficial. I'm now 3 years into my business and now on my 3rd website build. And as Phil said, I have been able to spend as much money as I want. The 2nd build cost well over £10,000. The 3rd build is only going to cost us a few £100 because of the proliferation of good tools and good things out there that are now virtually free for me to use.
And how do we encourage more IFAs to be tech savvy?
Well, we're seeing, as the panel have said, more video being accepted by consumers. They're either downloading it, they're viewing it, they're watching it on Video Jug and YouTube, and the social sites such as LinkedIn and Twitter. But what we would say, it comes back down to the basics. You can do all the social stuff, but that actually it might be free, but it takes a resource of your time, which many IFAs don't have. What we obviously say is get listed on unbiased.co.uk's directory, because the work we are doing encompasses the whole of the web. We're placing Find an IFA searches on over 70 white label sites, and these cover sites such as MSN, AOL, The Guardian, The Times, other portals, other relationship type sites. And we're also doing paid for search, natural search. So as Joe was saying, if you go and put in Find an IFA into Google, have a look and see what comes up. We would advertise on Yell, which itself is a local directory. If someone's looking locally, our ad will come up top.
I think one of the things we work with Karen very closely on is to understand what level of searches are coming through on these topics, and in what combination of phrases. We call that the long tail of search advertising. So it's not just the IFA financial advisor, it's getting down to the long tail. And we're looking at over 2 million different combinations of searches that we're actually optimising Unbiased against. So we are trying to make sure that link with IFAs is as easy and relevant as possible for the consumer.
And just back to your question, what are we doing? We're doing everything that we possibly can online. We're placing content online in the BBC. We're generating media pieces, over 7,000 pieces of media on behalf of IFAs and the IFAs on our directory last year alone. And if an IFA is going to do anything to improve their online presence, it would be get a website and get that website plumbed into consumers searching for advice by registering on our directory.
Can I just make a point? And I know you're going around the table here, but I think just by listing yourself on Unbiased is not the thing to do without some thought. When I started my business 3 years ago, Unbiased was the tool that I used. It delivered over 60% of our new inquiries and new business in that first year. But we did it in a particular way, and that is not to look and sound like anybody else's listing on Unbiased, because everybody else goes on there and says, I'm an IFA, I've got X years experience, and I'm qualified like this, and that is not a differentiator. Everyone looks through that and says, and, I'm expecting to see that. What is it that makes you different?
It's not only about setting yourself up to be different to the others in your locality or even across the whole directory. It's about using the profile that you register with Unbiased. So you can, say, list pensions but not any other product areas if that's the particular type of new leads that you want. If you want everything, then list up to 9 business areas on there. List all the qualifications that you and your advisors at your branch hold. We've got over 1/3 of consumers are now looking for an incrementally qualified IFA. There's ways of changing your profile to fit in with what your business is trying to achieve at that moment in time, and that can be changed. We take updates all the time. So if it's one point you say, right, we want to get interested in a bit of mortgage business, oh, but it didn't work for us, take mortgages off, use your entry to your best advantage and mould it to ensure that you get the right type of business coming to you.
Kim, what do you say to IFAs who say they don't need a website?
A number of IFA firms I work with are dedicating an awful lot of finance and research and resource to actually put the business online. Quite often IFAs talk about that being back office moving online, so they've got straight through processing, it's a paperless office, submitting business through to providers with the back office technology linking straight through, using very rigorous back office systems. So some IFAs are actually going from the back, pulling through from submission of actually how we administer business from the back office. And without getting into great detail of what's middle office and what's front office, but we rendered it with very shoddy front of the business. They can have, IFAs can have very rigorous back office, straight through processing, completely paperless, instant retrieval of information from the online technology they have back office, and then they've got a shoddy 3-page brochureware on the front of the office. It's like the king with no clothes on. It's like the IFAs have got to get real, and within the content of their website needs to contain what their service proposition is for clients. They need a brand, they need a dominant brand, which is memorable. Yellowtail, for exactly Dennis's business, that is memorable. You also need content of what the consumer, the client, will receive when they contact the IFA. Will the IFA contact the client online? Is it all email? Is it all newsletters? Or is it old-fashioned, out-of-date, come and see me for an hour and a half and I will write you letters? I do not know anyone, even my great aunt, that wants to be written letters and travel across town to go and see an advisor. They want online service 24/7.
Keeping your experience, how good is the IFA community in marketing themselves online, and what more could they do?
Well, I think there are a couple of things here. I'll answer that point in a minute. And we've been talking just now about whether IFAs are tech savvy or not, but we know, as Kim's just explained, that they are. Many of the ways that they run their businesses are very technologically superior. And we also know that they're great consumers of the internet. You know, you at Centaur have just recently relaunched your websites because you know that IFAs will go to them to pick up news, and other sites that specialise in research and so on get an awful lot of traffic through them. So IFAs are great users of the internet. I think perhaps where, you know, sometimes they struggle, and this is not unique to IFAs, it's many businesses, large and small, is understanding, why do I need a website? What am I going to put on it? And how do I really get to grips with those issues? And I think, you know, as Dennis mentioned, there are you know, colleagues and competitors even in the industry that have done very well out of using the internet, and maybe they can take advice. But I think IFAs probably just need to focus on what is it that they look for when they're using the internet, and how will that inform what they want to put on their own website.
I think it's quite easy for us to be evangelists for this and to get very excited about it. I think also some balance is needed, and I think there's quite a few IFAs who think, well, this is all very well, but the internet's also a potential competitor to us. You know, only this week we hear, is it Argus? They're going to put a price comparison service which will include pensions and mortgages, investments and so on. So some IFAs will say, well, they've got a much bigger reach than us, how can we possibly compete with that? So I think there is some fear. But looking on the other side of the coin, a lot of IFAs will now increasingly see people arriving in their office now with stuff they've printed off the internet, and they're much better informed than they used to be. And doctors also say this as well. People turn up for appointments now with piles of paper that they've printed off Wikipedia and so on and so forth, saying, I've diagnosed myself and I've got this, doctor. Treat me. And the doctors say, well, some of the time they're right, some of the time they're wrong. But the really important thing is that the consumers are now taking control of their financial issues. Yes, they do care about their financial situation, so they're using the internet to help them. Then they go and see the financial advisor. At least we hope that's what they'll do. Just as people will self-diagnose or try to self-diagnose medical conditions and then go to doctor. And doctors say, this is really good news. And I think IFAs should see the internet and all the wealth of financial information that's out there as a very positive thing that will help them in terms of their relationships with clients.
On that topic, Phil, what do you think of Martin and Nick Bamford launching a consumer-facing website to sort of grow an IFA business?
I think Informed Choice are very sharp thinkers. They're always 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else, thinking about what's next round the corner. This is really quite an important thing. I think consumers do want financial advice, and they find financial advisors through Unbiased and so on. But they don't always want to actually go and see a financial advisor. This is something I think IFAs need to get their heads around, that consumers want their advice, but they don't actually necessarily want to come and see you. And if financial information products or services can be delivered in other ways that may be more appropriate to a particular consumer, they'll go for it. And I think all IFAs really should be just thinking about, there are clients out there who want my advice, but they don't actually want to come and see me.